Brian Doan, Sam Hellman, ScarletReport.com. Sam, you are a resident Scarlet Knight men's basketball expert, women's basketball too, from what I understand. The season opens Friday night against the Rattlers of Florida A&M. Eddie Jordan makes his debut. My understanding is if you have the word Eddie or Jordan in your name, you get in for free, or you get free. I don't know what the deal is, but you should change your name for the day. When you're looking at this game and this season more in particular, why should people be excited about this team, or should they be excited for this team?
They should be excited for this team because it is, things have literally been torn down to rock bottom, and this is an actual chance to rebuild something for Rutgers basketball. You've seen, coaching changes over the last 15 years. Obviously, some pretty interesting situations with, Fred Hill and Mike Rice. But they were all decisions made to kind of keep momentum going forward. This one was, all right, we're going to start over with our guy. We're going to start off with someone that actually represents what Rutgers University is all about. And I think that's Eddie Jordan pounced on that. And that's exactly what he's been doing in the 6 months that he's built this program.
Before we get to some of the particulars, what's your over-under for the first time a clipboard gets slammed down, or he makes some kind of crazy Mike Rice type statement, or starts yelling, or just is a complete embarrassment? That's not Eddie, is it?
Complete embarrassment? No. I've seen. I've talked to Eddie a couple times now. Weekly at practices. I saw him coach a lot at the Wizards when I was growing up in the D.C. area.
So you were the guy.
Oh yeah, but Eddie will get fiery. He is, as passionate as anyone about basketball. But the last thing that he wants to do, and the last thing he's going to do, is embarrass Rutgers University.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing, just joking around a little bit, have some levity with the Mike Rice stunningly rearing his head again with a story in the New York Times Magazine just about how he's now coaching at the Jersey Shore. Let's hope he learned his lesson, because what he did at Rutgers kind of left the place in shambles and really almost brought down an athletic department, to be honest with you. But looking ahead, though, to this season, what I remember is just a not disciplined Rutgers team that sometimes played hard, sometimes didn't play hard. Some of the same personnel is back. The crazy one, well, sort of, some of it, the crazy one, and I was just joking with somebody today about it, is Jerome Seegers. I don't know, did it even, take a class down at Auburn? I mean, what was it like, and how crazy is it for him to come back, and what does he have to say about it?
It is surprising that he came back, but it was something where, I talked to Jerome after he got his release from Rutgers and was talking to him when he was between Auburn and a few other schools, and people were pulling him in 100 different directions. You know how basketball recruiting sometimes works.
Sometimes?
Yeah, at that level. And you know what? He was kind of pulled to Auburn. And I talked to him once or twice when he was at Auburn. And he was getting used to things. It wasn't going well. He was on campus for about a month. And you know what? He wanted to come back. He's a D.C. guy that wanted to come back and play for Eddie Jordan. He wanted to, the way he puts it and the way he's put it when I've talked to him since he's come back is, I want to finish what I started at Rutgers. I don't want to quit on the team. He's got very good friends on the team. He's going to start this year. He's going to have a big impact. And I think it was just a situation of, look, if you go through something like that in the spotlight, everything that happened with Mike Rice, I don't know how I would have handled it either. And you know what? He didn't handle it well at first, but he changed his mind and decided to come back to Rutgers, and Rutgers was very happy to welcome him home.
Yeah, and it gives them a guy who can shoot the ball from the perimeter, also a guy that can score off the dribble. Before we get to talking about strengths of the team, let's talk about two more guys. First of all, Wally Judge. Everybody wants him to be the 2015 guy. That's not Wally Judge. That's not the kind of player he is, at least in my eyes. What have you seen, because you've been out at some of the practices?
Wally he's still a very big leader for this team. He didn't start in the exhibition. They actually started Greg Lewis instead, who is a team captain. But Wally is as physically gifted as they come when it comes to basketball. He's going to defend very well. He's going to rebound a lot. He still struggles with his free throws, and he still struggles with finishing at the rim. And that's two things that he and Eddie Jordan have worked on a lot. And it's really, if you want a more consistent Wally Judge, if you want a guy that's going to get double-doubles against, conference teams and not just in those smaller matchups like he did last year, that's what he's got to do. He's got to finish at the rim, and he hasn't done it yet, but he's working on it.
Right, then the other guy we want to touch on is Miles Mack, who is here pretty much because Eli Carter is not. And it means that no longer do you have to watch Eli Carter with his selfish 25-footers and then kind of
like
jake
the
it
most
back.
fun part of the games, though.
And then jake it back on defense and not really hustle hard. How does the dynamic change as far as this kind of being Miles' team to control the ball so much, and also the dynamic of everybody getting along?
Well, Miles is he's the second-year team captain. He's comes from a very winning program at St. Anthony's. Obviously, Eli Carter came from there too, so it's not
night and day, though.
Yeah, the leadership isn't across the board, but he's a guy that has experience leading by example. He's not the loudest guy, but you know he is looked to as a leader of this team. And in talking to a lot of people at Rutgers Media Day, Van Macon, the assistant, told me, look, they give me and they give David Cox a lot of credit for keeping this roster together, but you got to give the credit to Miles Mack and to Kadeem Jack, because they were the two that really kept everything together, and they played a big part in recruiting new guys to the program when things were starting over.
All right, when you look at Rutgers, scoring, especially close to the basket, has been an issue for this team since, I don't know, the 80s. When you look at this team, though, what do you think they'll do well?
They're going to hustle. They're going to be one of those Coach Carter teams that runs a lot. They run, they play defense. I don't know if it's going to be the most visually exciting basketball, the high-paced, up-tempo, score a lot of points, but this is a defense-first team. It's a team with a lot of really good athletes. That was something that Eddie Jordan really picked up across the board. Was before he looked at basketball skills, he wanted people that were going to play tough and play athletically. So I think that you're going to see hustle. You're going to see a team that plays well late in games simply because they're going to be well-conditioned. So there are going to be a lot of close games.
Some of the new guys coming aboard, who are you excited to see the most when Florida A&M rolls in?
I'm excited to see Craig Brown, the JUCO out of Broward, Florida. He was the only guy that committed to Mike Rice as a recruit and stayed. He had a few other options. Auburn was recruiting him. I want to say South Carolina was involved. But he stayed with Rutgers the second that he found out that Eddie was going to retain Van Macon on staff. He plays really good defense, and from everything I've seen in practice and heard about what's going on so far, he's the kind of guy late in games that's going to come up with the steal, that's going to motivate everyone to try a little harder. I look at him like a Dane Miller, but with a little more consistency in the hustle and on the offensive side of the ball.
A little more consistency or a lot more?
A lot of hustle, a lot of passion, but similar to Dane Miller in his skill set, I would say.
All right, and then obviously one of the strengths of this team is going to be that they're going to play hard. Do they have the talent to put the ball in the basket enough to win consistently?
I don't think they're going to finish last in this league. They were picked last. I think that somewhere between 5 and 7 is a lot more realistic. Look, they're not going to – I don't think they're going to compete against Louisville or UConn. I think the games could be okay, but look, they're not going to beat teams like that this year, and that's okay. That's not what they need to do this year. Offensively, they don't have a ton of great jump shooters, but getting J.J. Moore eligible transferring in from Pitt is huge because he has experience scoring and he has experience in the NCAA tournament. And things like that, Rutgers doesn't have a lot of.
Yeah, and they got one more player that they're waiting on, too, to find out if he's going to be part of this season or not.
Yeah, Junior E2, he's pretty much there is my understanding. He's very close to getting there. He's the only actual kid coming from high school to join this team this year.
And yet he's the one waiting.
Yes. He comes from Bishop O'Connell in Virginia, Northern Virginia. And he, there were some academic questions at his background before he was at Bishop O'Connell, his school before that. But my understanding is it's pretty much cleared up at this point. I expect him to play this year. I don't know how early he'll play, and honestly, I don't know how much he'll play anyway because he's so much younger and less used to the college atmosphere as the other guys.
All right, let's get down to the last thing then. The good thing about a coaching change, especially at Rutgers, is it's renewed enthusiasm. It happens every 4 to 5 years at Rutgers for the past 2 decades at least. But for some reason, there's kind of more, I feel like there's more of a calm around the program and there's more integrity. And I think, in my limited dealings with Eddie Jordan, that's what I think of. I think of a guy who's just, kind of laid back in a good way, doesn't get too crazy about everything, which I think is exactly what this program needs after Mike Rice. The question is, forget NCAAs. Can this team even make the NITs?
Yeah, I think so.
Why?
Eddie Jordan isn't Mike Rice or or Fred Hill in terms of what he brought to the table when he comes in. This is a guy that was a coach at the highest level, and he played at the highest level, and I think experiences like that will really rally this team together. I think that when you look at 6 months ago when we're putting these coaching hot boards together, I think that interim athletic director Carl Kirshner did as good of a job as you could possibly do in bringing in Eddie Jordan, establishing that mutual interest, and getting Rutgers now in a best-case scenario after what was a train wreck 6 months ago.
Yeah, and I'll just leave with the fact that people can, wonder about just how Eddie's going to be X's and O's. If you're in the NBA, I've had many coaches who are in the NBA tell me this, that if you're there, you can coach, so you know how to do that. And then the flip side is, from what we saw out of Mike Rice and what we saw out of Fred Hill, it's not like, they're going in to take over for Dean Smith when it came to X's and O's.